Welcome to Create Your Own Economy with Bunmi Ajibade, the podcast dedicated to empowering side hustlers, business owners, and entrepreneurs to create, grow, and scale their businesses. And each week, we'll take a deep dive into practical tips and strategies, insightful interviews, and inspiring stories to help guide you on your entrepreneurial journey. Whether you are starting a new business or you are scaling an existing one, this podcast is a go-to resource for practical tips and expert advice. Join us and start creating your own economy today. Have you ever wondered how deep friendships survive the transition into business partnership? How does close friendships endure the transition into business partnership? So now I want you to imagine blending the trust you have with your friend. Imagine blending that with the complexities of running a business. Today we are diving into the fascinating journey of two attorneys who took their friendship into the next level by becoming business partners. We are going to explore how they managed the shift, and they will share their insights on how you can also navigate similar path without losing what made your friendship special, because that is the most important thing. You agree with me, ladies?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we will examine the challenges, because there are challenges. We also look at the advantages of working with a close friend and also discuss how to balance both personal and professional boundaries. Boundaries are very, very important. So help me to welcome back Kristen, because Kristen was here before, Kristen Santamaria, and her business partner, Kelly Smith. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yes. Welcome, Kelly. Welcome.
I'm very excited to be here, echoing Kristen. So thanks for having me.
Yes. So it's really very important that we really look at what makes the partnership work. Is very important. But before we go into that, let me tell you a little bit about both of them. Kelly and Kristen are two experienced corporate attorneys with a combined 20 years of legal experience. I'm sure it will be more than that, right? Because, the legal experience advising clients in the entrepreneurial space on entity formation, risk mitigation, and contract drafting. While Kristen and Kelly were at a prestigious international law firm, they regularly advised clients on these matters ranging from small startup companies to Fortune 500 companies. Kelly also has 6 years of experience as general counsel for a collection of private businesses, working alongside entrepreneurs in a wide array of industries to solve everyday problems like protecting intellectual property rights, employment concerns, risk mitigation strategies, contract drafting issues, and entity formation and structuring issues, to name a few. Kristen runs her own fertility-focused nutrition practice, and her specialized knowledge of the particular issues facing online coaches and entrepreneurs informs everything they do at Dotted Lines. Ladies, again, welcome to Create Your Own Economy podcast. How long were you friends before you formed a partnership?
So we've been friends for a very, very long time. Kelly and I actually met in the first grade. So we were in the same first grade class. So
That's great.
I guess you're 6 when you're in the first grade. So it's been about 30 years, not to completely date ourselves, but we've been friends for 30 years and have stayed close friends throughout that entire time. Ended up going to law school at the same law school, even though we went to different high schools and different colleges, and we live nearby each other now and have kids of similar ages. So it's been fun to see many different facets of our relationship as we've grown personally.
You see how important it is. You don't want to lose a friendship of 30 years, because of a business, because of just business. So it's important that as you are listening to us, I don't know how long you've had your friend. If you are thinking of going into a business partnership with a friend, please listen. They have been friends since 6th grade. I mean, since first grade, when they were 6 years old. I mean, I don't care how good some friends you got 5 years ago are, you still want to keep 30-year friendship, So what influenced your decision to enter into a business partnership with each other, Kelly? What really helped that?
Yeah, so Kristen really was the one who had the brainchild for this idea of forming dotted lines. And so she had come up with this idea and then consulted with me about it. I thought it was a terrific idea. I think she saw that I would be able to add insights and bring contributions to the project from experiences outside of her. So it really took everything she was going to be able to bring to the table. We could magnify it by bringing in another person's skill set and bring that all together. So when she came to me with this idea, I thought it was just an absolutely terrific one. I saw the need that was there for legal education for entrepreneurs. And because I had worked with entrepreneurs in my career, I've seen it day in and day out. And I thought, what if we could make legal education and legal protection something that was more accessible? And so when Kristen had this idea, I just couldn't wait to jump on board with her. I will say, to your point about, being concerned about friendship, that ultimately when you have a 30-year plus friendship, it was incredibly important to me to protect that. I wouldn't want the business getting in the way of that. So that definitely was a consideration as we thought about going into this business together is this going to impact our friendship? And, what steps can we take so that it doesn't have a detriment on that? Because to me, that was the number one thing that I wanted to protect.
That's it. That was the number one thing you first said. Oh, I love the idea. I love it. It will work. Oh, you saw a need. And it's like, oh, hold up. Wait a minute. I don't want this to jeopardize our friendship. So what do? I love that. Instead of saying, oh, I love what you said, let's go in. Yes, I love what you said, but okay, let's look at our friendship first. What impact will it have on our friendship? So how then did you manage that transition from being friends into business partners? Because you already agreed, there is a need there. We know the two of you can, you have what you bring to the table to make that business successful. Then how do you then manage that transition from that friend to, any of you can take it, Kristen?
Sure. Yes. I'd love to chat about that. So I guess a couple different thoughts on that. We can kind of talk about how we did it from a legal perspective and then just how we did it from a relationship perspective, but you know, I
Yes.
think from a relationship perspective, Kelly and I, we had actually worked together before. So we had worked together in the large law firm we were both at for several years. We were in the same group. So we both knew that we were both really hardworking people. We trusted each other that, you know, we would be able to allocate tasks and allocate different projects, and then we would be really comfortable that we were both putting in the amount of work that we wanted to put into it. And I trusted her professionally in terms of, you know, what she would be doing with our legal documents and things like that. So I think kind of having that, you know, having that experience where we both actually worked together professionally before was really important. And I think maybe a consideration for people, you know, even if it's your best friend, you know, have you ever seen them in a professional setting? Do you kind of have an idea about their work ethic? You know, sometimes being friends with someone at a personal level can be different than working with them. So I think that was easy for us, maybe just because we had already been in that professional setting together and we'd gone to law school together. So we really knew a lot about each other's strengths and weaknesses. You know, I think we complement each other really well in terms of, so my weaknesses are Kelly's strengths and vice versa when it comes to actual legal work and things like that. And then when it comes to kind of how we handle that from a legal perspective, so, you know, one of the first things we did being attorneys when we wanted to form our business was we formed a legal entity. So not to get too deep into the weeds of kind of all the different types of these, but we formed a limited liability company. And we are both owners of that company, and that made sure that we felt really protected, that all of our personal assets that we'd each worked so hard to save up, our personal savings accounts, all of that would be protected if there were ever a dispute or liability that came up in dotted lines. But for that LLC, there's something that every single limited liability company LLC needs to have, which is called a LLC agreement. Sometimes it's called an operating agreement, but it's really that agreement where you kind of specify how your LLC works. How do you make decisions? How do distributions happen? And in situations like ours, where you have two people that own the business, this agreement is often the place where you're going to really specify how your, you know, business arrangement works. So, you know, Kelly and I, being attorneys, we're very careful to kind of think about, you know, how do we make decisions? How do we vote on things? How do we, you know, resolve agreements? Would we bring in a third party disagreements? If there was a disagreement, we bring in a third party. How do we handle if one person wanted to sell the business and, you know, the other person didn't, or, you know, God forbid that something happened to one of us, you know, what would kind of occur, you know, in that instance? How would our families be taken care of in terms of like financial, you know, ownership in the company? So definitely a lot kind of went into that agreement. And Kelly, I'd actually love to hear if you have anything to add to that as well.
Yeah, no, I think that echo everything you said. You know, I think clear communication is key. And the nice thing about having a LLC agreement is it really forces you to have those conversations and to talk through things and get that meeting of the minds. And so, you know, once you reach an agreement on that, it's very easy to put it on paper. So I'm really glad that we had that knowledge, and we, you know, our expertise is in the world of LLC agreements, because, you know, we know how important these issues are. And so it gave us a really easy avenue to have those conversations. And, you know, while I hope that Kristen and I never have a spot where we're having a serious disagreement, I will say that negotiating these things for anybody is so much easier when you're coming at it from, you know, a good place, not out of a place of conflict. So, you know, I can't reiterate enough how important it is to have those conversations really at the forefront. And I also think it just eliminates the chance of disagreement down the road, because it's like, if you agree up front, this is the way it's going to be, it's less likely someone down the road could say, well, this wasn't my expectation. So.
Yeah, I was just writing because that initial communication is so important upfront. not when you are in the situation and then you are saying, oh, this is how I supposed, oh no, I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that. That was not my expectation. And then, you go more into problems. But, really going into where Kristen was talking, all those list of stuff, nobody prays that bad things will happen. But even if anything happens, so that one family is not saying, oh, she sat on all our money, all our, everything is written there. The account is there. The operating agreement, everything has to be written down. And one of the things that Kristen said, she said, you first started with relationship and legal. You have to look at it in both ways because the two of you had worked together before. So you knew about each other's work ethics. So you already know some strengths, some weaknesses and all that. So it's very important if you are thinking of going to a business with a friend who you have never worked with before, that you really need to even go deeper into more conversation. How does she like to work? How does she deal with disagreement? If things don't go their way, does she get bent out of shape? How do you know what I mean? How do you take care of all those things? Because we all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. When it comes to, if you all have to do some extra hour because there's, you have to meet an agreement or meet to submit a project, and how does she work? Does she say, oh no, my family, I don't work after 8 p.m. and you need to finish this project. You need to submit it. Things like that. They might be small, but it's very important because if the other partner is the one that is always saving the day, the other one might be, why am I the one saving the day every time? So all those things need to be written down. And that exit strategy is very important. What if Kelly decides, are you married, Kelly?
Yes, I am.
Okay, maybe Kelly and the husband and the family, they decide they're moving to whatever, and they decide that they just, she wants to opt out of the business. So what is the exit strategy? Will Christy feel, oh, why is she leaving me now? Or now that the business... So all those things are so important because Kelly's life is not business. She's a person. Business is there. Kristen is a person. She has family. It's different from business. So really coming together and putting that on paper is important. So thank you for really giving us those steps. So now, when you have conflicts and disagreements, which I know it will happen because these disagreements might not be personal, how do you resolve those?
Sure, I'm happy to take that one. Kelly would love to hear your thoughts on this too. So, I think that this is one of those situations where, again, it's been hugely, important that Kelly and I both respect each other so much. We respect each other personally, but we respect each other professionally as well. And so, kind of everything that we do is really rooted in respect, I think. And so when we've had, some disagreements, and to be completely transparent, we have not had a lot of disagreements, but we've had some of them, as it's inevitable going along the way, just on, different marketing techniques, or if we're going to hire someone to help us with XYZ. And so really, kind of having, again, like Kelly mentioned, really clear communications where oftentimes, it's just a matter of us needing to get on the phone and really kind of ask each other probing questions and figuring out where is that person's reasoning coming from, and really just kind of hashing out the nitty-gritty of each other's points on that issue. And then oftentimes, once we've done that, we will kind of agree because maybe it was a point that someone didn't previously consider, or Kelly kind of has a different background than me. I worked at the law firm for a long time, which was great, but Kelly has worked with entrepreneurs like on a daily basis for many years that I've not had that kind of privilege of that experience. So I think kind of us having those different experiences lends to different perspectives and different viewpoints on different things. But again, I think that's really where that respect and trust comes back to, where I know if Kelly's disagreeing with me on something, there's probably a really good reason that she's disagreeing with me, and I probably haven't thought of whatever she's thought of that's kind of leading to her decision on that. And then Kelly, I don't know if you have anything to add on that as well.
Yeah, I think that you summed it up well. I think there is this, everything comes out of a foundation of just respect for one another. So when we may not see eye to eye, or we may initially disagree on something, it's usually approached from a place of asking, wondering questions, not, from a place of you must be wrong. It's more like, I know this is a very smart individual who has really good judgment. So let's get to the bottom of why maybe they're thinking about this the way they are. And then, the other person would have the chance to ask their questions or explain their rationales. And usually after we go through that process, there's a pretty clear answer that comes out of it. And oftentimes too, I know we've had situations where we'll just say, you know what, let's just try it and see how it goes. Then we can always adjust down the road. And so I think also just having a willingness to be open and flexible to try new things and realize, I think we've both had ideas that didn't really work out. Like at the end, we've had to adjust, but it's not a place of blame. It's more, okay, well, that was a learning experience. Let's do this differently next time.
I love what you said. It's not coming from a place of you are wrong, I'm right. It's from a place of, let me hear where you're coming from, and let me tell you where I am coming from. And there's sometimes that, when you listen to each other, you might say, oh, okay, I didn't even think about that. Or, oh, I was not even looking at that aspect of what we're talking about. And I love what Kristen also said. She said, although you are both attorneys, but the backgrounds are different. So when you are talking about entrepreneurs and what they want and all that, she will want to listen more to you, to Kelly, because of the background. And when it comes to working more, as an attorney and in the office and all that, she also might want to listen to what you have to say, Christine. So it's all about respecting each other. It's not about putting blame. And you know what? What if you decide to go with a decision and it didn't come out exactly the way you expected it? What then? What do you do?
Yeah, I think that, we've definitely had that happen with a lot of our
that decision making, because that is so important, that when you are making a decision and you have to defer to the other person out of respect, okay, you know what? Let's go with that. Let's take the decision based on what you said. And then it's like, the decision didn't work. Then what do you do?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that in real practice with us, if that happens, it's really just evaluating, well, why didn't this work out, and how do we pivot? How do we, make sure that this doesn't happen again? Or how do we maybe change directions to stop the impact of whatever that decision was? And I think, again, I don't think Kristen and I, we've definitely both probably had suggestions that maybe didn't go the way we anticipated, but I've never had either one of us come at it with like blame of like, I can't believe you suggested that. Look what happened. It's more like, okay, well, that didn't go as planned. Let's figure out a way to make this better. And I think that one thing that Kristen and I both bring to the relationship is a sense of good humor about it all. And I think it's important. Obviously, we take our business incredibly seriously. And, as Kristen said, like, I just think so highly of her as an attorney. She is so amazingly smart, so good at what she does. So I have all the confidence in the world with her. But at the end of the day, like, in any business, you're going to have, struggles or things that don't go exactly as planned. And I think when you have a business partner that you can not take yourselves too seriously and just say, all right, well, kind of messed that up. Like, let's approach this another way. It definitely keeps it more lighthearted.
Even if it's not partnership, even if it's only one person, solopreneur or something, and you take a decision and didn't come out as you like, human beings, they beat out themselves. I cannot believe I did that. Oh, dumb me. Oh, why did I do that? And they're so hard on themselves. And they're like, when you're hard on yourself, even as one person, that moment you cannot think right. You cannot even take another decision. Your business is impacted because you can't, at that moment, you can't even do anything. You can't respond to emails. Because at that moment, you are in the negativity yourself. So when you now have a partner and the two of you are like this, bouncing it, I can't imagine you made us do that. I can't imagine you agreed for us to do that. Come on, people. Things will happen. There is no business. There is no, even the richest people on earth that would take the right decisions 100% of the time. I've not seen it. So when you make decisions and they don't come out the way you like it, just as much as you are going to look into it and see what went wrong, what we have done before we took the decision and stuff like that, again, just go and grab right? Mine is water, but you can go and grab, we're in Texas. What do we do in Texas?
Maybe we have some margaritas or something like that.
Thank you. Yeah. And tacos. And just go and just be lighthearted about it. And just from there, you see new things will even come out. New ideas will come out that will set you up even for great, great things. Any other things that you want to share? Is there any other thing about partnership, about the two of you, about the business that you think you want to share?
Yeah, so I think we've covered a lot of it, kind of from the legal perspective and then also from the relationship perspective. I think the only other thing I would share, which we've kind of touched on before, is really just, even if it's someone that you are good friends with, really taking some time to consider how would that person be, in a professional environment, because oftentimes, you just may not have that insight to kind of know how things would go professionally working with someone. And like we mentioned at the beginning of this, our relationship has always been our top priority to maintain. And Kelly and I feel like, in a very, positive way, our relationship has really grown through the business because we've made so many memories of, we've had a ton of fun working on dotted lines. So like Kelly said, even though we take our business very, very seriously, we're both very committed to what we're doing and, really are committed to long-term success. We have a ton of fun. fun with it too. And so also don't want to downplay how much fun it can be to have a business partner and how much less isolating it can be, because being an entrepreneur can be isolating. You don't have those kind of camaraderie with your, people in the office or someone to bounce ideas off of. So, especially in what we do, being the legal field, has been so helpful for us to have both of our backgrounds and both of our minds to come up with ideas and review contracts together. And it's just been like a great way for us to make memories. We have so many memories now of like our friendship through dotted lines, and have done a lot of really fun stuff and attended events and photo shoots and all these things we would have never have had the chance to do if we had not pursued this business. So a lot of positive out of it too.
Yeah, that's so true.
Those are some of the positive, right? Do you have some negative? Do you have some challenges, some negative about working together? Because now you talk about, having somebody there together and all that. Are there any negative of working together? Anything?
I mean, like Kristen said earlier, I feel like we're really, really fortunate, and we have a really, strong foundation of friendship and professional respect for one another. And so that's really cut down on, any disagreements or conflict. Not to say there hasn't been some healthy conflict, because I actually think that's a really important thing. I guess if you had to, I wouldn't really consider, I think the positives outweigh the negative of this, but when you do have a business partner, one thing to know is that it's not just you calling the shots. So you do have to be open to, working with somebody else, understanding their point of view. And, that is a consideration, because there might be some people that think, I don't want to have to clear things by somebody else, or I want to be able to just take this and run and not really have to be concerned about somebody else's viewpoint on the matter. So I could see that potentially being a negative, but for us, I think that the necessity of doing that is greatly outweighed by the other benefits that we've talked about. So
yeah, and one of the somebody talked about a negative aspect of working together with the friend, and this is what the person said, that I get to see her a lot, and I don't want to see her a lot. I see her so much more than I have in the time past, and I wish we don't see a lot. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say we're different, but I feel like Kelly and I love each other so much that, and honestly, before we didn't, even though we're really good friends, we text occasionally, but we didn't really have that continual contact, just as we've had kids and we've got own things going on in our lives. So I could see that being, an issue for someone for sure, that maybe you know this person, you really like them, but then you get into business and you're dealing with them way more than you did before, and maybe it's just too much. I could totally see that being a thing. I think for us, we both have very busy lives, and so it was almost nice because we had that intentional contact points where we needed to talk about dotted lines things, and it would inevitably spill into personal things at the end. So I think for us, just with the way our lives are right now and dealing with a lot of different things with our families, it was kind of nice to have those committed touch points where we needed to talk to each other about this. But I could definitely, see that, and would definitely be something to take into consideration if you are thinking about going into business with someone is, could you handle them on a day-to-day basis? Would that be a good thing for you, or would that be overwhelming? So
how do you prevent, when you're having conversation, how do you prevent it from going into dotted lines, because, the two of you with your kids, you all went out to have a good time. How do you prevent it from getting to dotted lines? Do you have a sign to say, or what do you do to say, no, what? How do you do that?
Well, I think that communication is going to be key. Maybe setting those boundaries is really key. I don't know if it's just because Kristen and I have known each other for 30 years, but I feel like we're really good at kind of reading into where the other person is at in any given moment. And so I feel like we just kind of have a natural ability to kind of sense that out. And so we,
Don't bring it up.
yeah,
Not here.
I think our conversations are balanced between, catching up and that like friendship level of just figuring out how the person's really doing versus the business talk. And I feel like it's for us very natural and very respected. And I don't really feel like we've even had to explicitly say much, but I could see in some relationships where, you might have to be really intentional and set some boundaries around that, so that it's not kind of wrong time at the wrong place. But anything you would say differently, Kristen, or add to that?
No, I think that's, it's totally my thoughts too. And, we definitely have that advantage of just knowing each other for so long, which has definitely, just helps us read the other person. But like Kelly said, I think that, if you're concerned about that, obviously just communicating that with your business partner, and making sure that you're not, out to dinner with your families and they want to talk all business and you're ready to have that, time to relax. And then I think, Kelly and I both see dotted lines as like a really fun thing for us. And so I feel like sometimes we may talk about it more than other people perhaps would, but we both
hear, right? Because if the family is there, I was like, oh, here they come. The lawyers, the attorneys are here again, that kind of a thing.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Look, I really want to thank you both. I think before any two people will really want to go into partnership, into business partnership, the friendship has to be deep and has to be meaningful. And also, I think the friendship also, there needs to be communication. And I think that's, if I can hear the two of you, I think that is one thing that you have both done very well, that communicating what that friendship is to you. We value this friendship and it comes first before the business. But we also want the business to succeed. How then do we do that? Let's write what we need. And that's exactly what you have done. Is there any resources for our listeners? Because the last time you were here, Christine, I went in there and I got my own freebie. I got my freebie. The template. I got my legal templates. I got my legal templates. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I think, our website, which is dottedlinesco.com, is a great resource for people. If you scroll to the very bottom of the page, you can find our blog, which we have a ton of, information on there if you are just looking to kind of get started. Like I mentioned before, Bunmi mentioned we do have a great free resource, which is kind of our top 15 things to know when you are looking to start your business from a legal perspective. So, I can definitely provide that link to you as well. Would love to have you check that out. And then Kelly, do you have any other ideas for people?
Yeah, I would just say, stay tuned, follow us on Instagram at Dotted Lines Contracts. And we are, constantly putting out new resources material. We're going to be having a legal glow up program coming out soon, which will be really, really exciting. And that will be a free program we're offering. So there's lots to stay tuned for by following our Instagram too.
Okay, definitely. So I want to thank you so very much, Kelly Smith and Kristen Santamaria, both of Dotted Lines. And look, follow them on Instagram. It is so important that you protect your business. It is so important. Apart from, they're coming here to talk about partnership and all that. But the main thing, their business is really helping entrepreneurs to to help them with the legal things about their business. Because we are online entrepreneurs. We just think, copy something about a contract or something like that. No, it might not help you. It might not help your business. Why not reach out to them? Reach out to Dotted Lines. I think your website is dottedlinesco.com. dottedlinesco.com. Go online, reach out. Maybe you want to spend some few minutes with them. Yeah, they want to hear from you and they want to give you advice or just talk to you. They will share something with you. And if they don't know, if you are not from Texas, they might tell you to reach out to somebody in your state or something. But it's really very important that you take your legal protection seriously. And if you are thinking of starting a business with a family member, with the best friend, it is good, it is perfect, but take steps to preserve your relationship and separate that your friendship from the business and communicate and just do everything you can from the legal point and also from the relationship point. I want to thank you all for watching the Create Your Own Economy podcast, and I will see you on our next episode. Thank you, ladies. I really appreciate you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Create Your Own Economy with Bunmi Ajibade. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you are considering starting your own side hustle, I invite you to take our free assessment test to discover your readiness. Go to www.clarolgr.com/checklist. And if you need a personalized guidance for your business, contact me directly for a free strategy session. Let's work together to turn your vision into reality and chart your path to success. Go to www.clarolgr.com/MEET. Remember to subscribe, write reviews, and share this podcast with others ready to create their own economies.